folks, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to try to find some areas where some bass are schooling, maybe some stripers, and we're going to try to fish under them and catch the bass that are under the breakers, picking up the leftover and scattered and injured shad. I don't know if you've ever done that before or even thought about it, but let's go try it. Well, gosh, fellas, lost that one. I'll show you what I'm doing, guys. I got a little 4-inch fluke on a lead head. That's what I'm doing. Nothing fancy. It's something I don't see people do very often. I catch a few fish doing it, so I thought I would share that with you. Lost that one. That was a nice bass. The reason I'm doing that, and I'll show you in a minute, is filming around here. You can tell it's early morning. Okay. A little bit of steam coming off the water. A little fog. It was cool last night. It was 64 degrees when I left the house this morning. First good cool mornings we've had. Usually runs about 68 to 70 here in the mornings. But this is just an 1/8 ounce head. It's got a nice hook on it. Actually, I'm going to sharpen it a little bit. Now, alright, y'all seen me do this before. I got my sharpener out. I felt the tip of it on this last night, fooling around. And something I do sometimes. Well, make sure your hook is sharp. Now I've got some better quality heads. These are just Lucky Strike. One is, I'm using 6-pound line. I don't know if y'all heard that fish. Okay, it's easier to do with the bait not on it. If you don't have the bait on it. There you go. Now she's sharp. Yeah, it's easy to do if you don't have the bait on the hook when you do that. Could have took the bait off of it, I reckon, couldn't I? Alright, but what I'm doing, I'm in 12 foot of water here. I'm on the outside edge of a lip, which is coming out and dropping off some, from about 8 to 12. And y'all heard that fish break probably. Like, see here? The fish broke right there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. And most of them are stripers that are breaking. They're scattered. But the first hour and a half in the morning, the stripers will break around here and they're chasing shad. So, and I've seen a few shad on my depth finder. So what I'm doing, I'm imitating an injured shad. And guys, I don't know how many people do this. This is an old school thing. We use flukes all the time. This is a 4-inch big bites baits. I ain't sure what they call theirs right now. I have to look it up. I can't remember all of it. That's all it is. It's just a little 4-inch. That was a striper. See, I had a bump right there. He's seen his tail come out of the water. Had a bump right there. Now I could catch a striper too. I'm really not after the stripers, guys. If I catch one, we catch one, okay? I caught a couple up here last time. I was up there. Just, I see that break right there? Y'all probably heard that one, didn't you? You can see it on depth finder here. Those are broken up shad. And that's probably bass right there. Look, bass and stripers there. Those are shad. That's where they're breaking them up. So they come through my depth finder once in a while like that. Where the schools are getting broke up. See that? That's probably a striper. When you get that yellow. So that's why I'm doing. And I got a topwater. I got 2 topwater baits rigged right here. That one broke. It was too late then. But usually when they break one time like it can go on, you can't do much about it. But if you see them, sometimes they'll break and there'll be a couple of them in a little group. All right, there you go, guys. Live action. All right, let's see what we got here. I guess I don't have a 6-pound line. If I was fishing with stripers, I need to go to 8. And look here, this ain't a striper, it's a bass. That's a bass, guys, it's a bass. This is what I'm doing. All right. Got him. Okay, guys. Okay, folks. See? What do you think of that idea? Now, some of y'all watching this going like, dang, I've never seen that done before. And I guarantee you, some of you over 22 like I am, you're over 22 years of age, and you're going like, we used to do it all the time back in the days, guys. And it's the truth, guys. We used to, back in the days, we didn't have as much tackle back in the 80s and 90s. And, okay? We didn't have a lot of tackle back then, and we had to, we used whatever we had, and we took flukes and stuff. We took flukes and stuff, and this is just an old cheap lead head. Now, the reason I'm using a cheap lead head, I think I said this last clip. There's a lot of rocks and there's a lot of trees in the water up here, under the water. A lot of junk. Easy to get hung up here. And if you buy, I got some owner lead heads I use. I use the owners for when I'm going to throw a grub. Some of y'all go like, what? Yeah, guys, in the old days, that was our swim baits. Grubs were our swim baits. 3 and 4 inch grubs. We threw a lot. And that's what I'm using. Instead of a grub, I'm using this little shad body. And see, it's just it's made to do weedless. Now, I've got one weedless. I've got one weedless rigged up here. I got one fluke rigged up here, weedless. See, I got my rods laid where I can throw them fast, guys. That's why I got them laid like this. You see the fish that are breaking. All right. If I catch a big striper on this, he's going to break my line, isn't he? The reason I'm using 6-pound test, guys, this is my light action rod I use for little swim baits and stuff, is it gives this thing more action. The lighter line you can get by with. Now, I was talking to somebody the other night about this. And think about this. When you throw a crankbait, they say, oh, throw a crankbait on 10-pound test. Or 12. Some of them are using braid now. Why? Because it's got a thinner diameter. When you go to a thinner diameter line, it lets that crankbait dive deeper. Well, it's the same thing with the little baits like this and jigs and stuff. That's why I crappie fish for 2 and 4 pound test. It gives those little tiny baits more action. The heavier your line is, you get line drag. So when you pop, when I'm popping this bait up and letting it fall, you got a heavy line, it stops that fall and the action of that fall. I want that thing to fall and spin, you know, spawn, spin, or glide, whatever it can do. And sometimes it'll spin, depends on where you stop at. And you do it beside the boat and put the bait in the water beside the boat, pop it up, let it fall, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Depends on how you rig that bait. If you don't have it rigged good and straight, it'll spin. If you got it rigged pretty straight on the hook, it'll glide. So you can get some different actions out of them. But the light line will give you more action. All right, this is this is a baby striper, guys. I told you there's big stripers up there. I caught one y'all see in my video came from right here, but there's some big stripers here too. That's what I'm saying. The only thing about fishing this kind of bait around places where stripers are feeding here this morning is that you're going to catch some stripers too, and that's a little one, but most of them you catch here are 15 to 20 inches in that area. Alright guys, I'm just trying to keep him on here. Like I said, what you got to watch with these lead heads, and I don't have heavy line. I just had a striper break my line. He hit me too close, and I had to, it's got a rear drag. I can loosen it now, so I can loosen it a little bit now if I want to loosen it some. Oh yeah, he's not a big bass, but he's a nice one. Guys, they're all good. Right? They're all good. He's a chunky thing, my goodness gracious. Better wait till you grow up. That thing fell right out of his mouth. He's about 11 and a half, guys, but he's chunky. That's the main thing, and it's a bass. Okay, this is the big bite baits. I think this is called Albino. And real quick, the main thing you got to make sure of, guys, I'm sorry, I'm trying to show y'all something. Make sure you keep this thing straight. If you get a little crook in it, in the water, y'all can see here. See there? That's what I'm doing. I'm letting this is a 1/16, and I'm letting it sink, and I shake it every once in a while. And I let it sink and I shake it, and of course, you know, sometimes I let it hit bottom. It's only about 10 foot right here. I gotta go. He's small. I thought, where is he going? He's a baby. That's funny. He was about 8-9 inches long at the most. He come off in the boat. He hit me and started running toward me. So, you know, I had a hard time setting the hook on him. So I just kept reeling. I just kept reeling, and y'all seen the rest of it. He flopped off when I swung him in, hit me on the leg, landed in the bottom of the boat, and flopped back in. Good thing he wasn't a 5-pounder. That might have hurt, huh? That's funny. But that's what I'm doing, guys, right now. I'm taking this little fluke, and I'm throwing it pretty shallow. There had another bite right there, guys. I can see the bottom over there. And I'm throwing it over there. See, he knocked it, and I'm letting it settle a little bit, and I'm jerking it a couple times, and I'm bringing it out to its. I'm in 14 foot. The boat's sitting at 14 foot, so I can see the bottom right there. So I'm just jerking it a couple times, letting it settle, jerk it a couple times, then I'm letting it fall on the edge of that drop. See, and they think it's a wounded shad because there's a few fish breaking here and there. I'm never close to them. I know somebody going like, "Why don't you go and start the breakers?" Well, they're moving. And I'm not trying to stay with them. They'll break behind me, then I go that way, then they'll break down there, so I go down there, then they break up there. So it's really hard to do it. And how most people fish this river and the lake, you see the water's got a little current to it. You see the leaves and stuff moving in front of me? How people usually do it, it's like I'm doing right now. They let the boat float with the current, and they cast that stuff. And some of them get way out in the middle. And they drag live shad, and they throw big top waters in the mornings. You don't see nobody here to see. I haven't seen another boat because the mornings is much better. But I came up here and fished this morning and fished down the river, and then I come up here to fish this evening because I wanted to finish this video. So I caught a few this morning, and we're gonna try to catch a few this evening. It got hot, so I didn't fish till about 10 o'clock, and actually I didn't even have a bite after about 8:30, and that's the way it is on this lake. Guys, this is the 1st of August, so you know, it's a morning bite and an evening bite. I'm trying to keep them from jumping. That's a decent fish there, guys. I might have been my hand out of your way. I'm trying to keep my hand out of your way. See if we can get him in here. Let's see if we can get him in. I gave him drag at the boat. That's why I like that rear drag. I can give him drag at the boat. He ain't ready. There you go. There you go. What do y'all think about that? Oh, I was bluegill fishing the middle part of the day, guys. That's why I had those little floats. Now, he's not a monster. Now, he hit the little 1/16 ounce one, and he hammered it. Got a belly on that time. Great time of day, isn't it? He came to me. That's a nice fish, though. He's probably 13. Thick, nice and thick. He might be 13 and 3/16, something like that. You know? See ya. Alright, guys. Isn't it nice to watch them swim off? Alright, guys. I'm going to try to catch y'all one more, and I might call it a day. Hey, folks. Let me show you what I was doing. I was using a lead head just like this. This is a Big Bite Baits 4-inch jerk shad. Let me show you two of them without. This is a weedless. That'll help you some. Okay, this is just an open jig. Now, guys, I was using cheap jig heads because I lost 4 or 5. There's a lot of rocks in here. It's a lot of trees in this lake, on this upper end. They get washed in. If you're fishing somewhere you know you'll get hung up a lot, just buy the cheap ones. Make sure they're sharp. I carry a sharpener with me. Y'all see me stop and sharpen one this morning. It's laying right there. I carry a little file with me because sometimes after you catch a fish or two, or after you get hung up and you go get loose, you better check that point because sometimes you dull your point.
This rod had 8-pound test on it, and I had a 1/8 ounce one on that. I had a 1/16 on this one. This had 6-pound line of fluorocarbon on it. This light line, if you got clear water, you'll get more bites. But you got to watch it when the striper picks it up. I had it broke twice today, and I know it was stripers. He hit it pretty close to the boat and just took off. And I couldn't 6-pound fluorocarbon. I couldn't do anything with it. And I usually just grab the spool, or I got it locked down pretty tight. It breaks it, especially when it hit close to the boat. And guys, I had one rigged up right here on a bait caster. Because some of y'all going like, I don't carry a spinning rod. I know that. I know guys don't like spinning gear. I had this one rigged up. This is 12-pound line, and it's a 1/4 ounce head. And I had it rigged up on a bait caster. And it will work, guys. I've caught them on the bait caster. You don't have to throw them on a spinning rod. A spinning rod is just an easy way to throw them. So, guys, give that a try. Let me show you what we're using. There's the Damiki shad. That's what this little white one is. You can get them in multiple colors. It's the Damiki shad. Of course, I said Zoom Super Fluke Juniors. You can get them in multiple colors. Big bite baits, 4-inch jerk minnow. And these work good, guys. This you can get these in the... let me pull one out here real fast for you. This is called real shad. Isn't that a pretty color? It looks like a shad. And the blue bicarrion, those are 2 good ones. And albino. If you're going to order some, those 3 are the good ones. And they work fine, guys. And it's a cheap way to fish. You can buy the cheap lead heads. You can buy $2. You can get a pack of those. And if you lose a bunch of them, you ain't lost a bunch of money. Because you will get hung up doing that. But when you find bass schooling and you're working a topwater bait and they're not hitting it, stop, throw one of these into the school, jerk it a couple times and let it sink. Jerk it a couple times and let it sink. If it's real deep water, just keep doing it back to the boat. If it's 8-10 foot, let it go clean to the bottom. When it gets to the bottom, pop it up. Let it sink back down. Watch slacken your line because you'll see it jump. And that's how I was working it. If it was shallow water, 6-8 foot, I would jerk it, let it sink for a little while, jerk it. Because they're schooling, they're not on the bottom. Did y'all hear a fish break behind me just now? This is what I'm talking about now. See the shad coming out of the water? That's the striper. That's the striper. You can see the shad coming out of the water, couldn't you? Okay, guys, we got interrupted by a fish breaking. That's why I'm up here on this end of the lake. That was a striper. You can see the shad come out. The shad was that big. If I didn't have the camera running, I could have threw one of these baits right there, and I either caught the striper, or if it's some bass hanging with them. Bass will travel in the area with them, and that's what I'm catching. Hoping to catch is the bass that'll travel in that area. Because if he's injured any shad, the bass are picking them up underneath of him. Because he's going through the gobbling like a cookie monster. He's injuring some of them, and they're tumbling to the bottom, or getting injured and trying to run off. And that's what you're imitating. You're imitating that injured one, and catch those bass that are lazy and don't want to chase. They're feeding behind the stripers. Hey, if it's something you probably have used in the past, if you're an older guy like me, if you're more than 22, you probably used this rig and have forgotten about it, or still using it. If you haven't and you're a young fella, and you're just getting into fishing, and you go be around breaking fish, and you got an extra rod, that's 8-pound, 6-pound test to tie something like this on, you ought to have one rigged up in the mornings when you're going out, guys, and you see them breaking, try it. Throw it into them, it works. You see me catch fish on a day. I caught stripers, I caught bass. Didn't catch any monsters, but again, this is the 1st of August, you know, guys. The bigger fish get harder to catch as the summer goes on, don't they? What they call it, the dog days of summer, right? Hey, my name is Dennis. This is Fishing Lake Country. Please subscribe, guys. I'm trying to share things with you, techniques that catch fish. Sometimes I'm sure it's something you go like, yeah, I seen it. I seen that, Dennis. I've been there. I'm sure. But sometimes it might be something you go like, gosh, forgot about that. Or maybe even something new. Check out my other stuff, guys, on scrounger jigs, and I got stuff like that too, guys, going on. How to use those, and how to use the Mojo rig, and things like that. This is Fishing Lake Country. My name is Dennis, guys, and I'll see you next time right here on this channel. See ya.